so far in the Superconsciousness Mind series, which we call the Cradle of the Soul, we've learned about the 10 faculties of the superconscious mind. And we've had very interesting classes on each one of them. And we also have video recordings of each of these 10 faculties for you to review at your leisure. But before we look at the refresher diagram to remind us of the superconscious mind, because today we're going to narrow down to the subject of the soul, before we do that, I would like to share a brief verse from the scriptures on this subject, which says, "And we endowed them with faculties of hearing, seeing, heart, and intellect." The scripture says, and these scriptures were written thousands of years ago, "And we endowed them with faculties of hearing, seeing, heart, and intellect." Firstly, these words point to our superconscious level. Secondly, when you look at our 5 senses, touch, taste, smell, hearing, and seeing, the first 3, which is touch, taste, and smell, they are purely material level senses. And they enrich our material perceptions, but nothing more than that. And that is probably why the scriptures do not mention these 3, which is touch, taste, and smell. But hearing and sight, hearing and seeing, are higher senses that open our avenues or doorways to full experiential living. And these 2 senses are the cornerstones of the largest flow of inputs of experience that come to us. So the scriptures elevate their status. When I wrote about the process of death in my first book, I mentioned that vision and hearing are the last 2 senses that leave us as we transition to pure clarity. Hearing being the last one. And in that chapter, I described the process of death as I saw it, as I experienced it. And the last sense to leave was hearing. And then you transition into pure clarity as if you had 99 senses. So hearing and seeing are picked up by the scriptures as key senses. Then we come to the heart, which is a powerful vehicle of flow of love and compassion, and all the feelings and senses that define our humanity. So heart is a key, very important aspect of our beings. And it is a vehicle of flow of love, compassion, and all the feelings and senses that define our humanity. Those who cultivate the heart are at peace with life. They are filled with love and compassion, for example. Those who are detached from the heart become cold, cruel, and often destructive. And today we see a lot of it. And a lot of it is because we have become detached from the heart. Those of us who are on the path of the search of the light, our hearts are wide open. And the closer and the higher we rise in meditation, the more and compassionate and loving that we become. And so our heart opens up further. So the scripture says, hearing, seeing, heart. And then finally, the scripture mentions the intellect. And the intellect in the scripture is described also as a faculty, which can be interpreted as being pure, infinite intelligence that resides within our soul or in the superconscious mind. Now, when I've explained intellect in all the previous classes, I've described it as a borderline between the human mind, the highest level of the human mind, and the infinite intelligence. But the scriptures blend them into one, and which is fine because the essence remains the same. We have been a little more analytical. So the concept of these powerful avenues to knowledge and light were revealed over 1,000 years ago. But because the truth is eternal and timeless, it remains unchanged. People then knew about the superconsciousness, but they just didn't know the terminology that we use today. And they recognize the superconsciousness through these four key elements of senses which they could realize, intellect which they would activate. So, and heart which they also recognized. So today we are discussing it with a more scientific approach, blended with our spirituality. Now let us look at the 10 faculties and see how the heart, hearing, seeing, and intellect engage with the soul. So we can see here that we have the 10 faculties. So this is the light faculty, which is the soul, with the infinite intelligence at its core. So this is the core of the superconscious being. And then you've got harmony, knowledge, thought, essence, karmic, cosmic, creation, and equilibrium, all of which engage the heart, the intellect, hearing, and seeing. These four make up all the facets of the superconsciousness. And so we can see here through this diagram all the faculties and how the heart and hearing and intellect and seeing engage with the soul. And each and every faculty of the superconsciousness. It's important for us to refresh that based on some of the things we're going to cover now. Now, the superconscious mind, as you all know, is the most enlightened level of our being, embodying the majority of our intelligence capacity, 85 to 90%. Most of us only use 10 to 15% of our intelligence capacity. So imagine there's so much to each one of us, and we've spent this whole series of classes understanding that balance 85 to 90% and seeking to utilize it so that our intelligence capacity, each one of us, has been able to grow. As we saw in the diagram of the superconscious mind, the cradle of the soul, it is where the real I, the self, resides. And today we are going to focus on the soul itself. The soul is the jewel or the pearl that resides in the superconscious mind within that light faculty. And it is engendered by the infinite intelligence, as we saw in the diagram. So these are the two core elements that make up light and life that was breathed by the Creator into the clay form of the human being at the time of our creation, according to so many scriptures. Hence, the soul is the source of life force or life energy that flows through us and everything else. The soul embodies the light of the Creator, and with the help of the balanced 9 other faculties of the superconscious mind, it seeks to achieve a full and enriched life in this material plane, acquire all the experiences it has asked for of the Creator, which make up its karmic compass, and realize knowledge from these experiences. And knowledge is light. And we have learned all these and before in previous classes. Hence, for souls that are committed to the path of search for the light, like all of us are here today, so many of us have gathered, I would like to share a particularly encouraging and enlightening verse in the scriptures, where the Creator says to each one of us, you all and me, all of us, the Creator says, O soul, in complete rest and satisfaction, come back to thy Lord, well pleased with thyself and well pleasing unto him. Enter thou then among my devotees, enter thou my heaven. I will repeat it because it is so beautiful, and then I will explain what this means to each one of us today. O soul in complete rest and satisfaction, come back to thy Lord, well pleased with thyself and well pleasing unto him. Enter then thou amongst my devotees, enter thou my heaven. So let us bring these beautiful words to a simple human interpretation. Our soul, so O soul in complete rest and satisfaction. These words call out to the soul that is seated firmly in meditation at the hour of light. You have slept the night till 4 a.m., so you are in complete rest. So it says, O soul in complete rest. So you've had your sleep. And your commitment to searching for the light is one that brings deep satisfaction. So you are seated, O soul that is seated in meditation at that hour of light, which is 4 a.m. Come, you are in complete rest and satisfaction. So through these words, our Creator is directly addressing each one of us that sits in meditation in search of the light. Then the origin says, come back to thy Lord, well pleased with thyself and well pleasing unto him. These are words of such deep honor to the one who sits in meditation and seeks the light of the Creator. Our Creator says we should be well pleased with ourselves. What a beautiful invitation by our Source unto his light, his oneness. These words affirm how pleased our Creator is with each and every soul on the path of light. What an honor, what a great reward. And just the fact that you are present for meditation at that hour is an honor and a reward. So even if focus is difficult some days, it is fine. You were present. That's what matters. And that is why you should be well pleased with thyself and well pleasing unto him. So your act of being present in meditation is so profound. Then the Creator says, enter thou then amongst my devotees. All of us who are blessed to rise in our spiritual journey towards the 10th stage, the Creator once again addresses each one of us directly, saying, enter thou then amongst my devotees. Enter the final abode amongst souls like yourself, those that will achieve final union. So we are being invited. And then the Creator says, yes, enter thou my heaven. This is a direct invitation to each one of us to cross and enter that door of light at the end of the 66 steps at the 10th stages, at the 10th stage. These are very clear and powerful words that our Creator in the scriptures says to each one of us individually. How encouraging, how motivating. This is why we have all taken so much time and participated together in these classes to learn meditation and to harness the power of our superconscious mind so that we can reach our final abode, to be blessed with union with our Source. We call it mukti, enlightenment, fana fi Allah. So I thought I would share that with you because in many of the scriptures, those words are directly addressed to the reader. And for those of us on the path of search, this is so encouraging, so rewarding. So please remember this. And when this class recording comes out, please revisit it because it talks to you. The scripture talks to you individually as that soul and invites you to enter the heaven, that abode, that door beyond the 10th stage. So now, let us look at understanding our soul from this perspective and preparing ourselves to be worthy of these wonderful words of the scriptures that I have just shared with you. Many of the scriptures talk about nourishing the soul through prayer, good deeds, giving, meditation, and remembrance of the Creator. So many teachers of spirituality urge us not to neglect the soul. It needs nurturing, care, love, and growth. And in return, it will constantly illuminate our life's journey. So let us seek to understand the nature and science of the soul today. And firstly, we need to internalize the understanding that the life force or life energy that flows through us comes from the light of our soul. That's what makes us alive and intelligent beings. When this flow of life energy stops, the body and conscious mind die. But the soul and its superconscious faculties live on eternally because it is timeless. Like Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita about the soul, and I paraphrase, it simply flows into the wind like a light, subtle scent. He says it simply flows into the wind like a light, subtle scent. What a lovely way to put it. Now, I remember saying to my father one day, when we were having breakfast together, 5 years before he passed away, that at the moment of his departure, it was my prayer that I would be present with him, holding his hand, and being with him as he flowed into the eternal. And I believe the universe was listening to our conversation over breakfast, because that's exactly what happened. He was in a state of unconsciousness. It was 3:10 p.m. in the afternoon. And there I was, holding his hand at his deathbed, exactly like I had said and I had prayed for. And then something very beautiful happened. I felt this gush of immense happiness rise from deep within my soul. It was pure jubilation. There was this most powerful presence that had come to receive my father. And I recognized this presence and was filled with deepest, deepest gratitude that the light of the one who is above all had come to us simple mortals who belong well below the ground on which the Creator stands. He had come to receive the soul of my father. And I felt my father flow through my being into this truly, truly blessed presence. That's when I realized how precious each and every soul is to its Creator. I experienced it firsthand, and I was totally humbled, totally humbled. We don't realize how blessed we are to be that soul, that spark that emerged from the eternal flame of the Creator. And each one of us embodies this highest honor within us. If only we could see that and treat each other that way. Treat each other that way based on the knowledge that we embody that highest honor for which the Creator Himself comes to receive us. And like the Creator honored my father at his departure, He does so to every beloved soul on its transition. When I opened my eyes, everyone in the hospital room was in tears. And here I was, so happy, so happy for my father and for everything I had just experienced. If I showed my happiness, I would have been easily misunderstood as being insensitive. What kind of a son would be happy? So I had to actually hide my feelings. But to this day, I have never mourned my father's passing on. How could I, after having experienced the sheer greatness of the moment? And I'm saying to you that this is what the soul is all about, my dear friends. It is truly precious to its Creator, every single soul. And we need to treat it with far greater love, nurturing, and respect than we already do. When we sit and talk about the soul, so many questions arise. So let's address some of them. Questions like, where did it originate from? What is its purpose? What is its final destination? These are all important questions to contemplate. Where did it originate from? What is its purpose? What is its final destination? And then many may wonder, what does the soul look like? How can we perceive it? How can we connect with it? These are questions asked by humanity over its entire history. Mysticism has always fascinated and intrigued the human conscious mind. These questions do not have a straightforward linear answer, but we can try to reach the answer through deeper contemplation and meditation. Now, to address some of these questions in their corrective perspective, our friendly angels, Cyrus and Luminous, have let us share in dialogues that take place within the eternal flame. The eternal flame is pure light, pure stillness, pure tranquility. And our two friendly angels are going to let us hear certain dialogues so that we can understand our souls better. So let us call the voice of the eternal flame the source. Cyrus and Luminous call him the Great Oriya. Now, I came across this beautiful name when writing my book on the Alakansera, a civilization that came into this world as beings of equilibrium. They came to heal the earth after the great devastation suffered from the wars of the Mahabharata era. It was a war between good and evil. And even though the forces of good prevailed, the earth was devastated and needed healing and restoration. So this civilization came, and they were a very advanced civilization. And they referred to their source as the Great Oriya. So Cyrus and Luminous prefer us to use this name so as to keep our understanding totally universal in nature, not to reflect any one religious ideology. And that's very important, to understand the concept from a universal and neutral perspective, so that then you can apply it to whatever beliefs you have, to your own belief system. So Cyrus and Luminous are smart that way, I'm sure. I loved the name Oriya when I first encountered it in my writings. Beautiful, peaceful, neutral, nothing I could associate with from things I had learned earlier in my life. So let us consider the Great Oriya as pure light, oneness, indivisible, pure unity. And then there comes the event where a dimension, I use the word as a dimension of the eternal flame, emerges as an immortal soul to assume its experience in one of the seven worlds. In this instance, the dimension, which is a soul, who Cyrus and Luminous refer to as Oriana, emerges from the great source, the Great Oriya, to experience our earth, which is the world of water. So Oriana emerges as the immortal soul to come and experience life on our earth, which is the world of water. All creation in our world is made up of water, through which life energy manifests. So the soul of Oriana embodies the light and powers of the great creator, the Great Oriya. She is not separated from the Great Oriya. She simply emerges from her source to experience life in the world of water. She is constantly connected to the Great Oriya at all times. If the Great Oriya were a tree, Oriana would be a branch of the tree, an eternal branch. If the Great Oriya were the sun, then Oriana would be a ray of the sun, always connected to its source. If the Great Oriya were the ocean, then Oriana would be the droplet that remains connected to the ocean by virtue of being water. So the first and most important thing Cyrus and Luminous say to us is that, remember, Oriana is never separated from her source. She is always connected, for she is the source. So we are all connected to our Creator. We are never separated. Our soul is not separated from its Creator. It's one, it's always connected. So unlike what we have been conditioned to think, to this day in our lives, our souls never left our Creator. We are always part of our source, which makes us truly empowered beings. Now, let me share a very interesting illustration that the team prepared so that I can illustrate to you some dimensions of the great immortal soul. So, this is the great immortal soul. And the diagram, as the diagram shows, we are all indeed one soul. And all the universes are also part of our one soul. So when we think and go into the level of our ever-living soul, we can reach any creation anywhere in the universe. What we have here, you can see, is 10 circles, all of light. You can see life energy everywhere. The tree, the life energy that flows through the tree is of our soul. The life energy that flows through our fellow beings is of our soul. Animals is part of our soul. Birds, remember we talked about oneness being everywhere. Here is one of us sitting in meditation. Life energy flows through this person, part of our soul. So we are part of one soul. If you were to think of your soul, you have to think of your soul from this perspective. Now, I've obviously limited it to this drawing, but it can go into infinite dimensions this way as well as at the smaller scale. And you can also see, for example, if you're thinking of Oriana, and if that is Oriana, and she is always connected to her source. The tree is always connected to its source. The animals are connected to their source. So are the birds. So are all human beings. So this is how we look at this great immortal soul. So the first question, and so when we think about the universes, all creation in all the universes are going to be in these circles. I've just shown you a few examples here, but you could fill this whole thing up with material creation. Creation in universes, creation in the seven worlds. You can fill this up. They are all part of our soul. And we together are one soul. So hence comes the first question. Where did the soul originate from? And it is beautifully answered here. The soul originates from its source, the Creator. So at the core of it, this is where we are looking at the connection to the source. And unlike what many people think or say, the soul never leaves the Creator. So the notion that a soul goes from body to body makes absolutely no sense. And this is why so many scriptures say reincarnation cannot be interpreted according to this very naive notion. The soul is majestic, omnipotent. How can it abase itself by hopping in and out of organic bodies that are perishable and constantly dying? Organic bodies are just that. Organic bodies. Leave them long enough and they rot. Don't clean them and they smell foul. So the magnificent soul like Oriana can never hop from one body to the other. That is not reincarnation. I would like to consider our understanding of the soul as follows. The soul is an immortal dimension of its source, and it emerges from its source, and it remains eternally a dimension of its source. As you can see in this diagram, that soul is a dimension of its source. So the soul is an immortal dimension of its source, and it emerges from its source and remains eternally a dimension of its source. This is the first observation Cyrus and Luminous are pointing us towards as Oriana emerges from the great Oriya. Oriana is a dimension of the great Oriya. So, if you look at this being the soul of Oriana, even if that were her body, she's just a dimension of everything. But you can see that something so great cannot jump in and out of bodies like this or bodies like this. It makes absolutely no sense. So our understanding of reincarnation is to consider the soul as being the one that creates its form, gains its experience, completes its journey, and leaves the form. And we'll continue to explore this argument further. So Oriana creates her physical form with which she wants to experience the world of water. And she remains connected with this creation of hers for as long as her journey is to be. Then she lets go of this physical creation of hers, which is her body, but continues to be as Oriana, as a dimension of the great Oriya. So the next question was, why is the soul on a journey? Now, if we understood Oriana as an eternal dimension of the great Oriya, then let us use the analogy that she is the ray and Oriana is the sun. So let's say if that were Oriana, she is the ray and the origin, her creator is the sun. They are connected always. She is in the being of her creator. She is the one soul. Then all the experiences she gains in the seven worlds become light of knowledge that continues to flow into the ray. And Oriana is growing in knowledge through all her experiences. So she is growing brighter and brighter and brighter as she moves closer and closer and closer to her source. You could move that meditation icon up to here. Oriana gets brighter and brighter until she merges. But as she gets brighter, her light spreads everywhere, throughout all creation. So, this knowledge that she gains, that light that she gains, makes her become brighter. And as we saw in the diagram, when we think of the journey of the soul, we must not mistake it for a ball of light that hops from form to form. No. As we have seen, the spiritual reality of the soul is far greater than that. And as I said, as her light grows, she illuminates all of us with her light. This is why we grow in light. We illuminate others. This world would cease to exist without this very important light, which each one of us adds to every day in all of creation. Some schools of thought say that there are always 313 beings of light present in this world, and their presence is essential. Others may quote different numbers, but the point is, the light and knowledge we gain adds to the whole, adds to everyone's lives. So as you and I and all of us grow in knowledge and light, we add to the illumination of that one soul. So we are all contributing to that one soul. Even the light that flows through the tree, the animals, the birds, our fellow beings, creation in the universes. As we grow, so do they. As our light grows, they benefit from it. Now, let us join Oriana on her experience in our world. So now let us consider her as a droplet of water, because we are in the world of water. So let's think of her as water. She has decided to take her physical form, come in our world to gain her experience. Now I'm going to use an analogy of stalactites that grow in a cave. Have you ever seen how stalagmites and stalactites grow in caves? If not, don't worry. We will see how it happens in our analogy. I've got a nice image here to share with you. So as you can see, these are stalactites. And if they grow from the bottom, then they're stalagmites. But we're talking about stalactites. So we're going to consider the journey of Oriana through water as a droplet of water. And we're going to consider that journey as an analogy with this stalactite. So Oriana is water in this lifetime. And as water, she absorbs minerals and dissolves them. Minerals like, say, calcium. So she gets to know everything about the mineral every single atom of the mineral, every electron, every minute particle of calcium. She gains full knowledge of the mineral in her lifetime. This is her knowledge, which is light. Now we can think of these atoms and electrons and molecules and particles as being like events in her life. She experiences them and comes to know them fully. Then, as she flows from the roof of the cave, she lets the minerals get deposited slowly as a stalactite is formed. She leaves the mineral behind and she flows away. She leaves behind a stalactite. So she has formed the stalactite and then she flows on her journey. Her journey is done. She has created a stalactite and she has the full knowledge of it. Her work is done. So, through this simple analogy, you can see how that, I just used a very basic example of a mineral like calcium, and her purpose in life was to create something. And in terms of creation, she got to know every little aspect of that calcium. And then she deposited it, and then she moved on. Now, sometimes Oriana can create new atoms and molecules of minerals we have never encountered before. She is a creator of the form. You are a creator of the form. We are creators of the form. One of the seven worlds is the world of formation, from where all creation emanates, creations with a form. So here she has caused the creation of a stalactite. Or she could have caused the creation of a whole new range of materials or energies or intelligence. One of Oriana's purposes was to create, and so she did. Our purpose is to create, and so we do. So the universe of the seven worlds is infinite and ever expanding. And Oriana and us and all of us are contributing to its endless creation. Imagine other souls who flow like water, as Oriana did, may learn from her stalactite, or they may redissolve it and make something else from it. You see, this is how creation works, through the power of immortal souls like us, you, me, Oriana. Everything that happens in our lives happens with a clear purpose. Nothing is coincidental. And the net outcome of our lives is always a form of creation, as I explained in that class. Visible or invisible, depending on which world we are in. So today you caught a glimpse of Oriana's lifetime through the worlds of water and formation, two worlds at the same time. Now, what happens to all the knowledge she has acquired in this lifetime? It continues to exist in the one soul, in the form of an aspect of knowledge. Remember when we learned about aspects of knowledge? We learned the analogy of the 500 aspects of knowledge of a pineapple in a classroom. So now let us suppose that after this lifetime, Oriana decides to have another experience in our world. So she can create another physical form and carry her aspects of knowledge with her and add to our creation in this world. So she can choose another lifetime. This is reincarnation. The soul creates a form for itself wherever it chooses. In her next journey through the world of water, if she doesn't engage in, let's say, the world of formation as her core purpose, she could engage in the world of thought and either live within the world of water and thought at the same time, creating phenomenal new knowledge that other souls can learn from. At the end of this lifetime, she may have added more amazing aspects of knowledge. All along, Oriana is gaining more and more light. And at some point, she becomes as bright as her source. She merges into her source. That is her final abode. I won't call it destination, because as we saw in the diagram, she never ever left. She was and she is and will always be in the one soul, like all of us. But when she merges, she is the source, and she lives in all souls that emerge. She is still immortal. So that answers the questions: where did the soul originate from? What is its purpose? What is its final destination? Now, let us wrap up with the last three questions. What does the soul look like? How can we perceive it? How can we connect with it? So the simple answer is through experiencing every moment in the present, in your life completely, gaining as much knowledge out of each moment as you can, looking for the extraordinary in the ordinary and seeing it constantly, and drawing upon the powers and gifts of meditation. So let's go back to our diagram of the soul, because now we can approach another aspect for us to understand. So look at the tree. You see its physical form, and you see how the one soul flows through it. The tree and its physical form and the life energy from that soul flows through it. You also see that the source, the great Oriya, is integrally connected with the tree. So when you consciously seek to observe and recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary, you open up the pathways into the superconscious mind through which you can now observe and understand and realize the extraordinary. So when you and I are looking at a tree in the garden, and we realize that this tree is a direct connection with our soul, with our source, we are then able to open the channel, the pathway to our superconsciousness. And we are able to recognize the presence of us, ourselves, our soul in the tree. That's how you see the extraordinary in the ordinary. Now in Masterclass 4, we talked about this in some detail, about going into the garden, looking at the tree and recognizing that the life energy that flows through you is the same life energy that flows through the tree. And we talked a great deal about how to make our awareness of the light of our Creator a conscious awareness 24/7 by looking at all creation around us. Now you can see how it all ties together. And you can see, when you look at this diagram, why you are seeking the ultimate light through a simple form that will one day perish. This will perish, this will perish, this will perish, so will this, so will this. But as you see these forms, they are your beacon to seeing the extraordinary. So when you see another human being, worry less about the physical form. See the light that they embody, which is your soul. This is why we use the term namaste, which is the God in me bows to the God in you. Makes complete sense now, doesn't it? So that is true mysticism. That is true conscious living. And now look at the Buddha figure. You could be it. Anywhere in the 10 circles. You could be here, you could be here, you could be here. And when you are here, your form doesn't exist, but you exist through everything then. So as you go still, silent, and become detached in meditation, you engage with oneness, which places you directly into the light of the one soul. So as you go still, silent, and become detached in meditation, you engage with the oneness, which places you directly into the light of the one soul. You have built now an open channel into the light, where your omnispace or your third eye can open. That is the best time to focus on your linkage word. And we will do that in today's meditation. So if you don't have a linkage word already, choose one that you truly believe to be the name of your source. So focusing on a linkage word enables you to call out to your soul and connect with it, because it is a dimension of your creator. So as you focus on that word, as you hear it in your being, you're calling out to the light of your soul. Your linkage word is not calling out to something above the body, below the body, everywhere. What you are seeking is non-directional, because your creator is everywhere. You saw the diagram of the soul. The linkage word opens up your access to the superconscious mind so that you can seek the light that resides in your soul, the light from where your life energy comes from. This is why many schools of thought talk about meditation being a process where you connect with yourself. And then as you practice your linkage word, if you are so blessed, you will witness the light of your creator. You will become drawn into this light. And this is an experience we must all strive for every day. And remember, I shared with you the words from the scripture of great honor that is bestowed on each one of us that sits in search of the light. So then, depending on what stage you are at, you grow from stage to stage, light upon light, until you reach the 10th stage, and then you become one and you merge. So the above steps lead you to seeing the soul. Now let me conclude by showing you a diagram that I've shown you several times now, so you know it. But again, this all ties together, all the classes tie in together one by one. So one last diagram to share with you, and then we will do our meditation. You've all seen the diagram of the vortex. And as you can see, all these circles. So life, as we live it in material plane or in any of the 7 worlds, is along these circles. But the center of it is completely still. It is our source. It is our core. It is our origin. It is the great Oriya. So no matter where you are on any of these circles, you are always connected to your source. This is a very important point to remember. And if the center of the core is the great Oriya or our creator, we are always connected, wherever you look. So you and I and all creation who live in the being of our creator are always connected to him in that center core, always connected. This is why thought and life energy and every form of intelligence in nature takes the shape of the vortex. It is the most powerful shape in creation. It is the infinite mathematical model of creation. Now, today's meditation, we're going to go to the zero thought level and then focus on linkage from that level. It's a very beautiful state to experience. And as usual, during the meditation, I will use the name of the origin for our creator, but you can use whatever name you prefer. So if I say the origin is continuous, you can say Krishna is continuous, God is continuous, Allah is continuous, Om is continuous. So you can use your own name. So let's sit back, relax, close your eyes and breathe freely. Be completely relaxed and breathe freely. Let go of all your worries, your stresses, your strains. Be at complete peace. Complete peace. And I'd like you to imagine you're sitting all by yourself in a cinema theater. You're sitting somewhere in the middle of the cinema theater. No one's there. The theater is dark. There's a big screen which is also dark. Take a few moments and settle into this cinema. Become comfortable in your seat. Be completely relaxed. You're sitting in the middle of this cinema, in front of a big screen on which you see nothing at the moment. And I'd like you to repeat the words stillness, stillness, stillness. As you keep repeating the word stillness, you go completely still. Stillness. Keep repeating this word, stillness. Stillness. And you are completely still, absolutely still. And then you repeat the words silence, silence, silence. Silence. Everything is completely silent. You are in pure stillness, pure silence. And at this point, you choose to detach from your world with all your events, all your aspirations, all your experiences. You seek to detach from the world. You seek to detach from the past and the future. And you repeat in your mind, detach, detach, detach. As you cut the cord with the past, the future, and your world, you are in pure stillness, pure silence. And now you must detach, detach, detach. You are completely detached from the world, the past, and the future. You are now in the pure present, pure present, pure present. And then on the screen in front of you, there appears a golden ring, a large golden ring that covers the entire screen. And this ring gives out a beautiful, warm, loving light. And as you look at this ring, you repeat in your mind, the creator, or I will say the origin, is unity. The origin is unity. The origin is unity. As you look at this ring, it is the ring of pure unity. It cannot be broken. You can use whatever name you choose for the origin as you keep repeating. The origin is unity. 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 Keep looking at this ring and the light that it gives off, that flows through your being, giving you so much peace. Unity. 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 And then there appears another ring inside of this ring that covers 3/4 of the screen. It is smaller, covering 3/4 of the screen. Same light, same energy, same loving, peaceful energy. The outer ring disappears, and now you look at this second ring and you repeat, the origin is continuous. The origin is continuous. The origin is continuous. 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 This ring is complete continuity with no beginning and no end. Continuous. Continuous. Keep repeating, the origin is continuous. And then there appears another smaller ring in this ring, which now covers half the screen. This smaller ring gives off the same warm, loving light as the larger ring disappears. And as you look at this ring and the light that flows from it to your soul, you repeat, the origin is the source. The origin is the source of everything. The origin is the source. The origin is the source. And then a smaller ring appears, which covers 1/4 of the screen. And the larger ring disappears, and now you see this small ring giving off the same warm, loving light as you repeat, the origin is eternal. The origin is eternal. The origin is eternal, because there's no beginning or no end. Eternal, eternal, eternal. And then finally, a very small ring appears in the center of the screen. It's so small that you can barely see through it. The larger ring disappears, and now you're looking at this tiny ring, which is almost a dot. And you repeat, the origin is absolute. The origin is absolute. The origin is absolute. And then inside of this really tiny dot, there's another ring that appears, but you cannot see it anymore, because you are now in nothingness, pure nothingness. As you repeat in your mind the words, nothingness, nothingness, nothingness. Take a few moments and stay in the state of nothingness. Keep repeating the word nothingness. You are in a state of pure nothingness. And you repeat the words, the origin is absolute, absolute, absolute zero. Repeat the words, absolute zero, absolute zero. Absolute zero. And you are now at zero thought. Absolute zero. And remain in zero thought for a few moments. You are in pure nothingness, at zero thought. And this is where you seek and you pray for your third eye to open. Because the third eye opens in nothingness. And you repeat this prayer, open the ultimate eye. Open the ultimate eye. Open the ultimate eye. Keep repeating the words, the ultimate eye. The ultimate eye. The ultimate eye. You seek to open the ultimate eye in pure nothingness. And now the nothingness is filled with pure light, pure, bright, warm, loving light. You're still at zero thought. You're still in nothingness. You are in pure light. And in the presence of this light, which flows through every cell in your being, you repeat oneness, oneness, oneness. As in pure nothingness, you are in the light of oneness, oneness of all creation, oneness with the Creator, your pure light, oneness, oneness, oneness. And in the presence of the light of the oneness, you start repeating in your mind your linkage word. I will use origin. You will use your linkage word, recited in a slow rhythm. Origin. 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 Take a few moments and focus on your linkage word. And repeat it and hear it in your being in slow rhythm. Origin. Repeat your linkage word for a couple more moments. And in the presence of the light of oneness, of creation, we offer deepest gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Gratitude for the blessing of light. Gratitude for all the blessings we have received. Gratitude for the blessing of the earth, clean water, clean air, our beautiful earth, our families, our loved ones, all those that make our life complete. Gratitude for being one with the light of all creation, being one with the light of all humanity. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And on this blessed day of light, we offer special gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. You may open your eyes whenever you wish. What a blessed meditation. And I'd like to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being present today in such large numbers, for being part of the light of today's meditation, for bringing your positive energy, your being, your light, your soul, so that we could all meditate as one soul. I'd like to conclude by offering a special prayer that may you all be blessed with happiness, abundance, lots of love in your lives, and that every moment of your lives will be filled with light, pure, loving light. And we look forward to seeing you again in a week's time at the Sharing Hope meditation. And after that, we will start a new series, and Karima and the team will send you information on it. So now every Saturday our classes continue, Sharing Hope every alternate Saturday, and a class every alternate Saturday. So stay blessed. Really great to be with you all again, our soul family, and we'll see you again soon, inshallah.